Last example here. Which of the following government policies will shift the aggregate demand curve to the left here? So again, let's use the same approach here through the process of elimination here. So not only am I trying to teach you a little macroeconomics with aggregate demand, trying to teach you a little bit about test-taking strategies, which hopefully might be helpful as well. Again, it might be worth noting here that on the AP macro exam, you have 70 minutes to complete 60 questions for response, and that is worth 2/3 of the exam. And so this is the multiple choice. And then for the FRQ, you have 60 minutes, which is 50, 10 and 50. So here's the planning and then the actual test. And that's worth 1/3 of the exam. So that being said, focusing on how to maximize your answer for the multiple choice, it's going to yield maybe the most bang for your buck here. Not that the FRQ isn't important, but reinforcing how to do these multiple choice questions, not a bad investment of your time here. So which of the following government policies will shift the AD to the left here? An increase in the quantity of money here. So that's going to be monetary policy. And an increase of the quantity of money will shift the aggregate demand curve to the right, not to the left. So this is incorrect. Get out of here. An increase in the government purchases of goods and services. So the government increases spending and that's going to lead to an aggregate demand increase. This, ladies and gentlemen, is fiscal policy. And this is expansionary fiscal policy. So B is a big fat no as well. A decrease in the federal funds rate here. Now, what is a decrease in the federal funds rate going to do here? If you remember a couple slides ago, I talked about how can the Fed actually increase the money supply. And one way is decrease interest rates through the federal funds rate. And that's going to shift the aggregate demand curve to the right. So that is also incorrect. So take C off the map here. Now, let's say between D and E, you didn't know. Well, you got a 50-50 shot at getting this right here. Increase in Social Security payments. This is technically, it's neither increase in government spending because it's already been spent, so to speak, and it's not a decrease in taxes, but it is an increase in government transfers, which for all intents and purposes, consider that increase in spending, and what that is expansionary fiscal policy. And expansionary fiscal policy, we know, is going to shift the aggregate demand curve to the right, so this is also incorrect here. So without even looking at the answer is going to be an increase in the federal funds rate. Now, I know that's the answer, that is correct, but let's examine why here. Well, if there's an increase in the federal funds rate, if interest rates go up, then what ends up happening is people borrow less because people don't like high interest rates. People borrow less, and as a result, the money supply goes down, and therefore the aggregate demand shifts to the left. So that is the correct answer here. Now, if you correctly understood this was also going to shift the aggregate demand curve to the right, then you could reason that the opposite is going to shift the aggregate demand curve to the left. So at the minimum, let's say you didn't know if it was between C or E. Well, then at least you have a 50-50 shot at getting it right. But again, that requires some knowledge on what monetary policy is. Thank you for watching Educator.com.